Welcome to the deep dive. We had some really interesting, challenging academic lectures sent in.
Yeah, some dense stuff.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack why listening to complex spoken English like that can feel, well, overwhelming sometimes.
Like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Ah, yeah. And more importantly, we want to give you some really practical strategies. Turn those, rewind that moments into, okay, I got this.
That's the plan. Because often, the words, right? The grammar isn't necessarily alien,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow the overall meaning just slips away. We're going to dig into why that happens.
And give you tools to bridge that gap.
Exactly. Concrete tools.
So in this depth dive, using the kind of audio you're dealing with, we'll look at predicting lecture content.
Decoding some of that academic jargon, or slang almost,
And crucially, picking up on the speaker's attitude, what they really mean.
even when it's subtle.
Right. So let's start with the big question. Why does native academic speech sometimes sound like, well, just noise?
It's a really common feeling. Even native speakers hit this wall with new subjects. You've got the vocabulary, but the flow. It's
All
just
right.
too much.
Okay. Why? What are the core reasons?
Well, there are a few key things. One big one is what linguists call signposting.
Signposting, like road signs.
Pretty much. Think of phrases like the crux of the matter is, or so the main takeaway here. They signal structure, importance.
Ah, okay. They tell you, pay attention now, or this is a new section.
Precisely. And if you miss those signposts, it's like reading a book with no chapter headings. You lose the map.
You get lost in the details. Okay, that makes sense. Signposting. What else?
Then there are fillers. Things like, sort of, kind of.
Right. And I think people often assume that means the speaker is uncertain or doesn't know their stuff.
That's the misconception. Sometimes, maybe. But often, in academic settings, too, they're just, natural speech patterns, holding the conversational turn while formulating the next thought.
So they're not necessarily weak words.
Not at all. They're part of the rhythm. Trying to analyze every single actually distracts you from the real content. You need to learn to filter them,
Filter them out. Don't overthink the OS. Got it.
And the third piece is something called ellipsis.
Ellipsis. Sounds technical.
It just means leaving words out when the context makes them obvious. Speakers assume you can fill in the blanks.
Like, give me an example.
Someone might say, the results, inconclusive. They've skipped the verb are.
Ah, the results are inconclusive. Our brain just fills it in.
Exactly. But it relies on you sharing that context, that understanding. If you're struggling with the topic already, ellipsis can make you feel like you missed something vital.
Because your brain didn't automatically fill the gap.
Right. So, quick thought experiment for you listening. Imagine hearing, say, therefore, and perhaps crucially, the data. What's the first noun that really registered? Was it data?
Or did you get a bit stuck on therefore and crucial?
Yeah. If you felt a slight delay before locking onto data, it suggests your brain is working hard, filtering those initial bits to get to the core noun. It shows that processing load.
Okay, so signposting, fillers, ellipsis, they all add layers of complexity. Makes sense why it can feel dense. So what can we do about it? Let's talk practical techniques. You mentioned something called the 3-second prediction drill.
Yes. This is about being proactive, not reactive. Engaging your brain before you dive deep into listening. It's surprisingly effective.
Okay, 3 seconds. What do we do?
3 steps. First, topic and title. If you know the lecture topic, say, revisiting Keynesian economics in post-pandemic markets.
Right.
Take 3 seconds, just 3. Guess 3 related jargon words you expect to hear.
Okay, for Keynesian, maybe stimulus, aggregate demand, multiplier effect.
Perfect. Just doing that primes your brain. It tunes your internal radio to the right frequency for those words. Step 1.
Okay, primes the pump. What's step 2?
Speaker's bio. Consider who's talking. A professor of marine biology.
Probably not going deep on Shakespearean sonnets.
Exactly.
Yes.
Seems obvious, but consciously thinking about their field narrows your mental expectations, focuses your listening.
Sets the frame. Got it. Step 3.
First slide, or any initial visuals. If you see Figure 1, Inflation Trends 2020-2024.
You know stats and economic terms are coming.
Right. It signals the type of information, data, theory, historical overview. The first visual is often a big clue.
So, title topic for jargon, bio for field, first slide for info type. It's like building a quick mental map before the journey starts.
That's a great way to put it. You activate your existing knowledge, create mental hooks for the new stuff. You shift from passive receiver to active participant.
Even before they've really said much. I like that. Very actionable.
It makes a difference.
Okay, cool. Now let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about understanding the words and structure, but what about the meaning behind the words? That brings us to tone and words.
Ah, yes. This is absolutely crucial, especially in academic settings. Understanding the speaker's attitude or stance.
How they feel about what they're saying.
Exactly. And often it's not stated outright. You have to listen between the lines. One obvious one is sarcasm.
Oh, yeah. The classic, well, that was a brilliant idea when it clearly wasn't.
Right. The tone just completely flips the meaning. You need to catch that mismatch between the words and the intonation. Maybe a slight drawl or exaggeration.
Flat tone, maybe. Or overly enthusiastic when it doesn't fit.
Exactly. Then there are hedges.
Hedges, like in a garden.
Huh. Sort of. Linguistic hedges. Phrases like, it could be argued, or this might suggest, or perhaps.
Okay. And that signals.
Well, it doesn't always mean they're unsure. In academia, it often signals caution, nuance, acknowledging that knowledge is provisional. Debate it.
Right. Not wanting to make sweeping, absolute claims. Protecting their academic credibility, perhaps.
That too. I'm not risking my tenure on this statement kind of vibe sometimes. It reflects the culture of careful, evidence-based argument.
So it's a signal of academic rigor, not necessarily personal doubt.
Often, yes. And another huge indicator is pauses. Silence.
Silence speaks volumes, as they say.
It really does. A deliberate pause before a point can add emphasis. And the key finding, pause, was this. It primes you for importance.
Or a pause after something.
Yeah, that can signal weight, significance, like the consequences were far-reaching. Pause. Lets the idea sink in. Or maybe indicates a difficult or heavy topic is coming next. So, silence. This next point is tough.
Okay, let's try an example. Simple sentence. The results were surprising. How would that sound neutral?
Probably quite flat, matter of fact. The results were surprising, just information.
Okay. Now, how about skeptical? Or truly surprised?
Skeptical might have a slight rise at the end, maybe slower. The results were surprising, like questioning it. Truly surprised might be faster, higher pitch. Wow, the results were surprising.
You can really hear the difference, can't you? Same words, totally different feeling.
Totally. And catching that feeling is key to full comprehension. It's not just what they said, but how they felt about it.
Right. Super important. Okay, shifting focus slightly again. For listeners perhaps prepping for tests like TOEFL or IELTS.
Ah, yes, the standardized tests.
But also useful for general listening. Let's talk about common wrong answers. Those trap answers.
Test makers are clever. They use features of academic language to create plausible-sounding but wrong options. A big one. Absolutes.
Absolutes. You mean words like?
All, never, every, always, completely, totally.
Hmm.
Because academic topics are complex, nuanced.
Absolute statements are rarely accurate.
Exactly. An answer choice saying the professor completely rejects the theory is probably wrong. It's usually more measured.
Okay, so beware of absolutes. What should we look for?
Look for possibility, nuance, hedging language, actually.
The same kind of hedges we just talked about.
Yes. Answers with words like might, suggests, could, may, tends to, implies, indicates. These often reflect the careful, evidence-based way academics speak.
So more cautious language is often the correct answer in these test scenarios?
Very often, yes. It mirrors the source material better.
Okay, example time. Let's say a lecture clip discusses chatbots and creativity. The speaker raises points about limitations but also potential.
Okay.
The question is, what's the professor's view? A trap answer might be, she thinks chatbots are useless creatively. Too absolute.
Right. A better, more likely correct answer. Something like, she suggests chatbots currently have limitations, but seems open to future possibility.
Or the data implies chatbots lack human-level creativity for now. It's got that nuance.
Precisely. So listen for qualifiers, for that careful language, both in the lecture and in the answer choices. It helps even if you're not taking a test, it tunes you into academic style.
Great tip. Okay, final technique. This one sounds intense. Shadowing for superhumans.
It's maybe not that intense, but it is powerful. It boosts listening and speaking at the same time. It's an active imitation technique.
Okay, how does it work? Step by step.
First, find a short clip, maybe 20 seconds. From a lecture, a talk, anything relevant, play it once.
Just listen.
Then pause it. Immediately try to summarize aloud, in your own words, the main point you just heard. Keep it short, like 5 seconds.
Forces you to process and condense it quickly. active recall.
Exactly. Then, step 3, play the same 20-second clip again.
And this time?
This time, you speak along with the speaker. Try to mimic everything, their pace, their rhythm, their intonation, where they pause, where they put emphasis, like being their vocal shadow.
Okay, so not just repeating the words, but matching the delivery, the music of the language.
That's the core of it. You start to internalize the flow, the pitch patterns, those subtle tonal shifts we talked about.
And you mentioned a pro tip.
Yeah. Try practicing this with speakers who are really engaging and clear, like maybe a famous nature documentary narrator, someone like David Attenborough.
Become a more majestic listener.
Huh? Why not? Shadowing someone with great delivery makes it more fun and helps you absorb good speaking habits, too. It builds that intuitive feel for the language.
Okay, shadowing. Listen, summarize, mimic. Got it. Sounds like a workout, but a good one.
It really pays off.
All right, we've covered a lot today. Hopefully you're feeling more equipped to tackle those complex lectures. So, what now? Your mission, should you choose to accept it. Two things. First, next time you listen to a challenging lecture presentation, try it without subtitles first. Just focus on the sound. Resist the urge.
Immerse yourself.
Second, actively listen for and jot down just one specific tone clue you notice. A sigh, a change in pace, a hedge word used deliberately. Just notice one thing.
That act of noticing really sharpens your awareness. It trains your ear for those subtleties.
Absolutely. And looking ahead, our next deep dive, we'll be getting into vocabulary, specifically C1 level synonyms, how to sound smarter without sounding
pretentious. Yeah. Using richer vocabulary naturally.
Exactly. How to upgrade your word choices effectively.
Should be good.
Until then, the big takeaway from today, really listen. Not just to the words, but listen between them, through them, for that deeper layer of meaning and intent.
That's where the real understanding happens.
Thanks for diving deep with us.